I would like to welcome our chair, Mohsen Mushtaq Chandra, and our discussant, Dr. Madiha Riaz, on the stage. I would like to welcome Shabana Naveed from Garrison University, Lahore, Sumaira Yasmin from PIDE, Mahfuzullah from Karakoram University, Gilgit, Misbah Tanveer from Lahore, University Management Sciences, LUMS, Lahore, and Tahira Sadaf from University of Lahore, Agriculture, Lahore, Faisalabad, sorry. Over to you, sir.
जी first presenter please आ जाएं. Thank you very much.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम जी, very good morning. Here I am with my research on exploring the synergies. Thank you. All right, ji. So we have explored basically the synergies and the co-creation of public value through public-private partnerships in the educational services. So my team, Madiha Rahman and Muhammad Abdul Rahman, and also my research associate, Nida Siddiq, I really want to appreciate the efforts of my team. Here's the agenda, introduction, methodology, findings, and the conclusion. Fine, so if we look at the public-private partnerships initiatives, we know that it is well established that public-private partnerships can offer good solutions, effective solutions for improvement of educational services all around the globe. The public-private partnership, no doubt, they have capacity to increase the educational services, enhance the innovative solutions, increase the efficiency, and to jot down the multiple stakeholders' resources and expertise and come up with some process of co-creation. So theoretically, co-creation refers to whereby multiple stakeholders integrate their resources and expertise, and they increase the value of public services. But basically, the co-creation is not the always outcome of PPPs. So co-creation can be diverted to co-destruction as well if the PPP implementation has some flaws or the implementation is, they are not implemented well. The literature highlights that there are many limitations towards the proper and effective implementation of PPPs. In the education sector, particularly if we talk about the developing countries, the donor agenda may be dominant, and it may compromise the contextual solutions. The marginalized community may be ignored and may not have the opportunities to get those educational services with true capacity. There may be hidden costs, there may be cream skimming. These kind of practices may hinder the effective implementation of public-private partnerships. So what can be the outcome? It may be, so these, these kind of limitations may result in co-destruction, and co-destruction is a process whereby multiple stakeholders join together to decrease the value of public services. So therefore, we try to explore what is actually going on. Are we moving towards co-creation or we are moving towards co-destruction? So talking about the problem statement in our context, theoretically तो मैंने को explain किया कि we are going to contribute in the literature of co-creation and co-destruction. Practically, अगर हम पाकिस्तान की situation देखें, तो पाकिस्तान consistently fails to achieve the Millennium Development Goals and the Sustainable Development Goals in achieving the educational targets. There are severe educational crisis with 26.2 million out-of-school children, and Pakistan is basically the host of second largest out-of-school children country. And if we talk about Punjab, which is basically leading the public-private partnership reforms and globally recognized as well, that Punjab has implemented major reforms in PPPs. But still, there are 7.8 million out-of-school children, and 16% of the children have never seen the school. So this raises the very a question on what's going on and what is basically the effectiveness of public-private partnership in our educational reforms. And this gap really needs. So addressing this gap, we targeted the province of Punjab, and within Punjab, we selected Punjab Education Foundation, PEF, and PIMA as a case, and addressed following objectives. Number one, assess the quality of educational services delivered through the mode of PPPs in the province of Punjab. Number two, explore how PPP can address the challenges of enrollment crisis. Number three, what is the role of PPP in regarding the equity challenges in the province of Punjab. Fourth, to identify the practices and key success factors for value co-creation through PPPs. And the last one, the challenges and limitations, which can enlighten us towards whether there is co-destruction and to what extent different stakeholders are playing their role in imposing different challenges and limitations to the implementation of PPP reforms. This is the conceptual framework. Basically, we conceptualize that through PPP and their inter-organizational relations and governance mechanisms, we can achieve co-creation, either co-creation or co-destruction, and that will lead to the ultimate outcomes, either enhancement in the equity, quality, or access, or diminished quality, reduced access, and lower equity. Mixed method research, case study research design have been used, and convergent parallel mixed method design is applied. Two cases are selected for in-depth exploration, PEF and PIMA, because they have the largest school network all over Pakistan, overall Punjab. Diverse stakeholders were included in the study. The perspective of the students, teachers, parents, school administration, PPP management, government officials. Multi-stage sampling technique was used, in which, first of all, we selected the districts covering the region of North, South, and Central Punjab. We selected 2 from each side, so 6 districts were selected. Within 6 districts, 5 to 7 schools were covered. And within the coverage of those schools, we ensured that PEF, PIMA, and within PEF, there are 2 programs, that is FAS, Foundation School System, and EVS, Education Voucher Scheme, should be covered in all the different schools. Multiple sources of data was utilized. For qualitative data, we used a technique of interviews, and interviews were conducted with on policy level with PEF, PIMA, and SED. SED is School Education Department, which is basically managing all public schools. Then school principals. In सबके साथ हमने interviews conduct किए. At the second stage, rather simultaneously, we conducted focus group discussions, and focus group discussions were conducted with teachers, students, parents, and community. एक ग्रुप में सिर्फ एक ही डेफिनेटली अगर टीचर्स हैं तो टीचर्स का फोकस ग्रुप डिस्कशन था, कम्युनिटी है तो कम्युनिटी का फोकस ग्रुप डिस्कशन था. Documents were collected in forms of reports and policies. Open-ended survey was administered with the teachers, and quantitative data was analyzed from the secondary data, SSC results, matriculation results, and large-scale assessments results. This is basically the data sources के coverage आपको how much data we have covered through different sources. Interviews की coverage 54 interviews conduct किए गए थे, और उसमें we include PPP management, PEF management, PIMA, SED, education experts, PIMA schools, और इसी तरह से FAS और EVS के जो programs उनको cover किया. District wise coverage में you can see 6 districts, और उसमें in every district PEF and PIMA schools are covered. Focus group discussion में you can see teachers के जो है वो 4 focus group discussions हुए हैं, students के इतने, बाकी सब categories में 3-3 focus group discussions हुए हैं. District wise open ended जो question हमने administer किया था in every region, जिस स्कूल में भी हम जाते थे वहीं पर हम एक ये जो सर्वे था ओपन एंडेड वो भी हम एडमिनिस्टर कर लेते थे in order to increase the breadth of the response, qualitative responses. तो उसकी जो कवरेज है वो भी आपको नजर आ रही है. 244 responses हमें मिले थे सर्वे में. But that was open-ended questions which were asked in survey. We finally की तरफ चलते हैं. First one, quality of education. Quality of education के लिए जो हमने quantitative metrics use किए, that is the results of the students, and results के लिए primary level पर large scale assessment which is conducted in which PEF, PIMA और जो SED के public schools हैं उन सब के students की सारी assessment होती हैं. So that was a wonderful criteria for us to have a comparative analysis. तो comparative analysis में अगर हम देखें primary level पर और जो middle level पर अगर हम देखें तो वहां पर F is basically performing on the equal level of as public schools. So public schools की और PEF की जो performance है वो same है, but PIMA is lagging behind. If we compare the results of SSC, SSC में PIMA नहीं है because PIMA is up to middle, up to primary level. So इसमें we have compared PEF results with the public schools results, and also run the t-test to see which group is outperforming. So, and as per our results, PEF schools are outperforming in SSC results. The results, the outcome, quality cannot be determined only with outcome of results. The result is only one indicator, and you know that results जो है वो mostly based करते हैं how much the students can memorize and what is the cramming capacity of the student. So therefore, quality determinants have और भी हमें चाहिए. So for that purpose, qualitative research was really important. So first of all, what we explored is a teacher's qualification. So in teacher's qualification, ऑलमोस्ट 84 और ये हमने वहां से लिया जहाँ पे ओपन एंडेड सर्वे हमने किया था तो हमने टीचर्स की क्वालिफिकेशन भी ले ली. सो उसमें हम हमारे एज पर ओवर सर्वे 84% ऑफ द स्टूडेंट ऑफ द टीचर्स उनकी क्वालिफिकेशन लेस देन ग्रेजुएशन है, इंटरमीडिएट तक है. मेजॉरिटी मेट्रिकुलेशन की क्वालिफिकेशन रखते हैं. ऑलमोस्ट 1.6 और 2% टीचर्स हैं जिनकी क्वालिफिकेशन 18 इयर्स है. एंड टोटल 4 टीचर्स थे हमारे सर्वे में जिनकी 18 इयर्स क्वालिफिकेशन थी. अदरवाइज लार्ज पॉपुलेशन इज इंटरमीडिएट. अगर डिटर्मिनेंट्स जो हमने इसमें देखे दैट इंक्लूडेड. अच्छा, अगर हम PEF का देखें तो PEF is taking some measures, good measures. For example, monitoring टीम उनकी बड़ी अच्छी है. तो जो स्टूडेंट्स की वेरिफिकेशंस, फिजिकल वेरिफिकेशन उनकी स्ट्रांग है, but what things are largely ignored is teachers qualification. टीचर्स पे दे हैड नो कंसर्न अबाउट कि उनको टीचर्स को क्या पे किया जा रहा है, और टीचर्स की एवरेज पे 6,000 रुपीज है. लार्जली 6,000 रुपीज प्रमोट हुई है, हमें रिपोर्ट हुई है. और एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज आर लार्जली इग्नोर्ड. एनरोलमेंट क्लासेस की हम बात करें तो हमारी स्टडी ने ये कंक्लूड किया है कि नंबर ऑफ स्कूल हैज नॉट इंक्रीज, रादर नंबर ऑफ स्कूल हैज डिक्रीज्ड ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. 2016 में टोटल नंबर ऑफ स्कूल्स वर 61,000 और 2013 में हमारे 60,000 स्कूल्स हो गए हैं. तो 898 स्कूल्स आर रिड्यूस्ड. तो नंबर ऑफ स्कूल्स रिड्यूस हो गए हैं, एनरोलमेंट्स बढ़ गई हैं बहुत स्लाइटली. तो हम सेम कैपेसिटी में अपने स्कूल्स को हमने ओवर बर्डराइज किया हुआ है, और उस कैपेसिटी के साथ हम फर्दर एनरोलमेंट क्राइसिस को बिल्कुल भी एड्रेस नहीं कर सकते. सो एनरोलमेंट क्राइसिस की अभी कैपेसिटी ही नहीं है कि हम एनरोलमेंट क्राइसिस को की तरफ जा सकें. पॉलिटिकल डिटरमिनेंट्स में हमने जो एक्सेस को देखा कि क्या इश्यूज हैं, तो हमें कुछ जो की इश्यूज नजर आए वो थे कि क्रीम स्कीमिंग, जिसमें बहुत से स्टूडेंट्स है वो जो मार्जिनलाइज्ड ग्रुप्स हैं वो इग्नोर हो जाते हैं. एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव हर्डल्स हैं, नादरा वेरिफिकेशन, ब्ला ब्ला, एंड सोशियो इकोनॉमिक बैरियर्स हैं. लास्ट अगर मैं देखूं एक्विटी के हिसाब से कि मार्जिनलाइज्ड ग्रुप को कितना कैटर किया जा रहा है, तो उसमें भी हमें स्लो लर्नर्स और वो स्पेशल नीड्स, आई मीन इफ सम पर्सन नीड सम इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, तो इस तरह के कोई भी जो फैसिलिटीज हैं वो अवेलेबल नहीं है कि हम मार्जिनलाइज्ड ग्रुप को स्पेशल जिनकी कोई नीड हो उसको हम पूरा कर सकें. एनरोलमेंट के हिसाब से अभी देख सकते हैं कि जो वेल्दी पर्सन हैं वो उनकी तो एनरोलमेंट तो ज्यादा है, लेकिन पुअर्स की बहुत कम है. जनरल सोसाइटी हमें कम मिली है. इसमें मैं दो कहूंगी. एक तो ये कि लैक ऑफ करप्शन वाइडली रिपोर्टेड कि एक सिस्टम में करप्शन नहीं है. मॉनिटरिंग जो टीम्स आती हैं वो बहुत ट्रांसपेरेंटली जो भी इंडिकेटर्स उनको वेरीफाई करते हैं. और सेकंड ये कि स्कूल जो प्रिंसिपल्स हैं दे आर डूइंग अ गुड रोल एज अ चेंज एजेंट. वो अपनी अपनी कम्युनिटी में बहुत अच्छा एक रोल प्ले कर रहे हैं टू इंक्रीज द नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स. चैलेंजेस और लिमिटेशंस में बहुत सारे मिले हैं। उनमें जो मेजर मैं कहूँगी वो ये कि लैक ट्रस्ट, hierarchical communication, strained relationship between PPP management and students, dilapidated infrastructure, फंक्शनल बैरियर्स भी हैं, पेरेंट्स की तरफ से अनइन्वॉल्वमेंट भी है, लेकिन उसके मिक्स्ड रिजल्ट्स हैं। लेकिन इंटर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स बहुत डोमिनेंट हैं। एंड डिस्ट्रक्शन इज वाइडली प्रिवेल्ड। इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का आप हालात देख सकते हैं। पॉलिसी रिकमेंडेशन जी, हमारा क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 था कि हम ये देखें कि क्वालिटी का हम कैसे इंप्रूव कर सकते हैं। और क्वालिटी में हमने ये कहा कि क्वालिटी रिजल्ट इज नॉट द ओनली डिटर्मिनेंट कि हम कहें कि क्वालिटी इंप्रूव हो गई है क्योंकि पेफ के स्कूल में बड़े अच्छे रिजल्ट आ रहे हैं। द थिंग इज दैट ये क्या आपने टीचर्स की क्वालिफिकेशन देखी है? क्या उनकी पे देखी है? क्या एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज आप देख रहे हैं? So these are very important determinant which is largely ignored. So it is recommended that the school's assessment criteria needs to be revised. Okay, बस में okay. पॉलिसी रिकमेंडेशन देना चाहूंगी। वो टीचर्स क्वालिफिकेशन और उसकी पे की है और उनकी कैपेसिटी को इंक्रीज करने की है। थर्ड जो है पॉलिसी रिकमेंडेशन, और पर्टिकुलरली जब हम टीचर्स की पे की बात करते हैं तो एटलीस्ट इट शुड मैच विद द नो मिनिमम वेज रेट। मिनिमम वेज रेट तो दें उनको। अच्छा, उसके बाद फिर है आप एक्सेस कैसे इंक्रीज कर सकते हैं, उसके लिए नंबर ऑफ स्कूल्स बढ़ाने होंगे। नंबर ऑफ स्कूल के बगैर आप 7.8 मिलियन चिल्ड्रन को 4000 स्कूल्स हैं जो अभी रिसेंटली पीमा ने सॉरी सेड से पीमा की तरफ डाइवर्ट किए गए हैं। इन 4000 स्कूल के साथ 7.8 मिलियन को तो आप नहीं डील कर सकते। चैलेंजेस के लिए जो पेफ और पीमा है उनको सेपरेट डिटर्मिनेंट्स रखने पड़ेंगे इन ऑर्डर टू इंश्योर कि इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन आप दे सकें। अदरवाइज सेपरेट डिटर्मिनेंट्स के बगैर स्कूल्स के पास इतना प्रेशर है क्यूएटी में क्वालिफाई करने का कि वो स्पेशल नीड्स को बिल्कुल एड्रेस नहीं कर सकते। लास्ट टू कम्युनिटी एंगेजमेंट और इंक्लूसिव डिसीजन मेकिंग तो डेफिनेटली वो
सेकंड हमारे जो थैंक यू वेरी मच मैडम। सेकंड हमारे जो पेपर है जॉब सेटिस्फैक्शन अमंग women from traditional labor market roles to online jobs, Miss Sumaira Yasmin and Miss Ikra Karamat.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Ikra Karamat, a student of PhD Economics from Pakistan Institute of Development Economics. Today we are going to present an indicative study which is based on a very interesting and important topic. Job satisfaction among women transitioning from traditional labor market roles to online jobs in Pakistan. Online work has reshaped the global workforce. People are moving away from traditional on-site office jobs to online work. And even in Pakistan, this shift is unlocking new opportunities, especially for women. So let's start with the job satisfaction. It is not just about a paycheck. It is about commitment, well-being, and productivity. There are various factors like compensation, work environment, work-life balance, and growth opportunities that play a huge role in determining how a worker feel like at his workplace. So without these factors, motivation falls, commitment weakens, and productivity hurts. So understanding job satisfaction is very essential for improving workforce dynamics. Before moving into the details, let's have a quick look on current status of females in Pakistan. Because of the deep-rooted and widely spread barriers, capable women in Pakistan struggle hard to find a secure and fulfilling job. In this way, here are some important points need to be highlighted. First one is gender disparity. According to LFS, women make up 48.51% of the total total population in Pakistan, but only 14% of women get education beyond the grade 12. I mean, this significant gap in education leads to a significant imbalance in labor force participation. Less education means less job prospects, less leadership roles, and ultimately less financial independence. But it does not stop here. If we talk about the employed women, over 70% of employed women in Pakistan are in vulnerable job positions with low wages and job insecurities. In this way, limited education is not just the only reason, but the societal norms and safety concern are restricting their career choices. Due to all these factors, women remained excluded from economic opportunities and for a longer period of time. Obviously, this leads to impact the economic growth of the country because I think half of the labor force is not fully utilized. So, having explained the women's status, let's move to the job market in Pakistan. Job market in Pakistan is evolving rapidly, but is it evolving in the favor of women? This is a very important question, and our study is revolving around this question. So, unfortunately, traditional labor market in Pakistan has long been a barrier rather than an opportunity for many women. It represents gender disparity, limited women employment opportunities, and unequal treatment. But online work is changing the scenario, the whole scenario, as it offering flexible and a wider range of job and work opportunities like online teaching, content writing, and e-commerce, IT consultancy, etc. Here we can see the labor force participation rate of women over the years, and it fluctuates over the years as data shows that it reached at its lowest point 2018 21.719%, but after that it increased from 2019 to onward till 24.607%. This increase may be due to the availability for the online work, because due to COVID-19 there were more common and accessible work opportunities, online work opportunities for women. So here is the problem statement. The shift from on-site to online work is a big change for women in Pakistan, but the question is this change and shift is improving their job satisfaction, or they are facing new challenges? Here are three objectives based upon the problem statement. The first one is evaluate the impact of transition from traditional labor market roles to online jobs on job satisfaction of women in Pakistan. The second one is to explore the challenges and opportunities specific to female transitioning to online jobs and analyzing their influence on overall job satisfaction. And the final one is actionable, to provide actionable insights and recommendations for organizations and policymakers to enhance job satisfaction in traditional and online job. These are the research questions against the objectives. Okay, the significance. This study highlights the barriers women face in both traditional and online work, offering insights to improve inclusive workforce, environment, job opportunities, and labor rights. By generating debate on changing workplace dynamics due to online work, the study can contribute in raising awareness so that policymakers and organizations can use findings to make more informed and fair policies. This is literature review, which is I'm going to skip because of time constraint. Okay, here is the conceptual framework which has been formulated through literature, and it is based on Skolberg's transition theory. At the core of the research is women's job satisfaction, which is influenced by various factors in both online and traditional job. These factors include work-life balance, composition, job flexibility, working conditions, and job security. Talking about the research design, the data has been collected using Google Forms, where structured survey questionnaires were shared with two kind of women. The 95 women who have transitioned from on-site to online job, and with 45 women who are still working in on-site, or we can say traditional job settings. PSLM data was also incorporated to cross-check the findings and to ensure the data validity and representativeness. And the questionnaire covered a broad range of things, including demographic information, job satisfaction factors like salary and benefits, work-life balance, distance and commuting cost, etc., as well as motivation and challenges. A snowball sampling technique was used to collect the data to identify that women who have transitioned from traditional to online work. So this foundation set, I would like to call Ms. Sumaira Yasmin, who will take us to the further discussion. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. So for analysis section, the demographics of the data shows that the majority of the respondents fall within 26 to 32 age range. Within 26 to 32 age range shows a growing preferences for digital opportunities for among the youth. If we see the marital status data, the almost 60% of females are unmarried, reflect appeal for remote work for single women. And for the educational data, so the education major PSLM data shows that the population has 12 and 16 years education, shows the limited access to advanced education in Pakistan. However, the online job shows that the online job shows a clear preferences of higher education levels with MPhil holders. The minimal participation of 10 and 12 years education in reflects that their levels are insufficient for professional roles and especially in online job domains. So the distribution underscores the importance of higher education in accessing professional opportunities, and also there is no portion for illiterate women in online job sample. It shows that there are a barrier to entry in online job market for illiterate females. So field of study, so the social sciences dominate both online and on-site job roles. Computer science strongly favor online jobs due to its digital nature, and health sciences lean towards the on-site roles due to because of their hands-on requirements. So these are the job sectors. This data shows that different job roles for on-site jobs dominated by the teaching and teaching are education related roles, which and for the online jobs are split into two categories: content writing and teaching, online teaching. And for PSLM data, major part is from primary school teachers, and secondary school education highlights the foundation for education. These we from the premium in content writing over online teaching shows that in on-site teaching roles they are split into two parts: content writing and online teaching. And we can see that the content writing earning higher income 75,000, which is 2.42 times more than online teaching. And although there is online PhD holders in online teaching, but it shows that despite having the advanced education, there is limited earnings in due to this limited differentiation in this job category. So the income levels: on-site jobs has the higher mean 50,000, and on-site jobs had the 50,000 income, and online jobs had the higher income means, which is 69,000, and PSLM is lowest income, which is 32,000. It shows that there is more advantages for online job, and average their working hours. So working hours also shows that in traditional also shows that on-site job have higher average working hours, weekly hours, compared to online job. This aligns with labor layer trade of in economics, where online jobs likely offer greater flexibility, enabling workers to balance work and layer more effectively. Their reduced hours in online jobs may also reflect higher productivity uh, per hours. So motivational factors, there are motivation in online jobs, flexible working hours are and in uh, on-site jobs, they prefer it due to fixed working hours. So there is a trade-off between flexibility and fixed working hours. So we can see that the income is low for fixed working hours, but higher for the online jobs who prefer flexible working hours. But despite this higher income, most of the females prefer this fixed working hours due to the stability of on-site jobs. So this is the compared descriptive analysis, univariate analysis, which shows that the on-site job has the issues of uh, higher stress level, lower work-life balance, and there are also an online job. There are issue of slow internet, which enables to go it smoothly. Also, marital status shows that marital shows uh, higher stress level and flexible low flexible work hours, and जो जो फीमेल्स अनमेरिड हैं वो उसको प्रेफर कर रही हैं ऑनलाइन जॉब्स को, क्योंकि उसमें फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी ज्यादा है और अर्निंग भी उनकी ज्यादा हो रही है. इसी तरह अंडर 30 जो एज है उसमें मेरिट पोर्शन कम है, तो और वो उस सिंगल फीमेल्स हैं और वो ज्यादा प्रेफर कर रही हैं ऑनलाइन जॉब्स को, और above 30 females prefer कर रही हैं ऑन साइट को because of stability. These are the analysis, content analysis. दो क्वालिटेटिव क्वेश्चनर थे जिनका ओपन एंडेड क्वेश्चनर थे जो सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं हमारी क्वांटिटेटिव फाइंडिंग्स को. So the conclusion is there is higher income, low stress, and improved work-life balance in online job. So positive viewpoint for online jobs, and unstable. There are also issues for unstable income, internet issues. So and opportunities about autonomy and flexibility. These are the policy recommendations. So establish targeted training programs for women with lower education to improve digital literacy and provide accessible, affordable, and practical skills building courses. So encourage businesses to adopt hybrid work models. Government should establish a freelance social protection fund to ensure social security for online workers to mitigate the income uncertainty. Digital labor welfare card should be introduced to provide access to minimal to financial benefits, tax incentives, and microloans for female entrepreneurs. To provide a reliable internet access and secure online platforms to enable women participation in digital economy, and also perform periodic labor market assessment and time use survey to guide region specific strategies and tackle the time poverty. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. It was a very important topic. I found some gaps in presentations, but I hope the presentation had been better. Okay, number 3, work in mountains, freelancing landscape in Gilgit-Baltistan, Mr. Mahfuzullah and Mr. Ataullah Shah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, very warm good morning. Honorable Chair and dignitaries, fellow colleagues, Assalamu alaikum. This topic actually is about exploring the freelance landscape in Gilgit-Baltistan, basically how the gig economy is entering into the mountains, and we are focusing on actually to see how this kind of otherwise disconnected part of the land of Pakistan is either benefiting or kind of getting its share properly from the market. Gilgit-Baltistan is otherwise basically famous for its beauty, its landscapes, and it's like some of the very famous tourist destinations. But at the same time, there are some dark aspects of that area that has actually rarely been able to catch attention in the media. That is its highest rates of literacy, like it's about 74%, and highest rates of unemployment, especially among the university graduates who are coming back to that area and they're unable to find work over there. That is actually has increasingly has led to a social unrest and political unrest. Right now, when I'm speaking over here, if you could check the news, maybe it's not on there, but the whole area is kind of landlocked and thousands of graduates are on the road blocking the ways to find demanding government for providing the work and all that. Traditionally, if we look at the traditional sectors which has eaten so many resources or substantial resources from the government of Pakistan, is they have been invested into the traditional sectors like mining, tourism, not that much investment, but whatever has been done so far, they have been focused on the traditional areas of employment generation, particularly in tourism, mining, and all that. But they have kind of, I won't say failed, but they have not been able to produce that much employment are satisfying the highest kind of how would I put it, that the literacy rate and at the same time the unemployment are rising exponentially, but the opportunities being created by these sectors are kind of very limited and minimal and seasonal, like tourism for 3 months and rest of the 9 months we are doing nothing. In this context, we have recently seen, I am part of that ecosystem over there. I've been running many programs, looking at as a after incubation centers, freelancing centers as a director. So I've experienced it on ground that this freelancing trend has entered into this market in a very short span of time and has gained popularity in a very short, limited span of time. I have been a part of that system. In fact, I have led multiple programs in that sector. But after a while, we did kind of background study and saw there are two conflicting things happening in Gilgit-Baltistan at the same time. Freelancing is getting popularity. At the same time, NGOs, government funded programs, and some other INGOs are working onto that, but they are creating more disappointments. They are not providing solutions, rather kind of they are becoming the part of the problem where youth is becoming frustrated of the initial short cycle where they were excited about doing a lot of great things in freelancing, but after a while it's kind of creating more disappointments, more frustration because this is very famous. Everyone talks about it. You go Gilgit Baltistan, Gilgit City, small areas, freelancing. Okay, when you ask how much are earning, don't know for how many years you are working, 2 years, getting a job, 1 month. That what's the problem? This needed to be actually investigated in true sense that after consuming that much resources and that area, why the sector is again not functional and it's not providing jobs or it's not creating value for the money. So in that context, what we did, uh, let's explain the research scope a bit more. We have been exploring this ecosystem or the landscape over there. I'm not going towards the challenges or the problems. My colleagues have already have done it. They are similar across Pakistan, internet, and all other things. But there hasn't been any systematic effort to understand the value, worth, and viability of this freelancing or the gig economy in that part of the world, which otherwise isolated, disconnected from the rest of the Pakistan, and has nothing else to offer to its graduates other than this, emerging market of gig economy. In that context, no previous research has only you won't find even a single newspaper article discussing this kind of problem where we have in last maybe 3 years you can say millions and maybe some says millions of dollars invested by the embassies, international INGOs and all that into that sector. But when you go and check the impact, you won't find any impact assessment report, any research paper, any article that have explored this problem. This is in order to understand this landscape more and in depth, we adopted a kind of a unique strategy where we try to we have explored this problem from a different perspective. We went to explore the impact of the very first formal program that we call as National Freelance Training Program funded by Punjab IT Board. I was a part of that program. This was the only program who has some data, who has like kind of visible impact. We have put some case studies in the paper. If you check this towards the end, there are two case studies. You can see how this program has been impactful. We wanted to explore the landscape of in GB, of the freelancing landscape in GB through impact assessment and presenting these results or comparing these results with other actors of the ecosystem says and what are their views about that. I'll explain it more into the methodology section. But basically, over here, we are trying to understand the freelancing landscape in GB, not particularly the problems. Okay, this one, two, three problems that are there actually, but how the whole landscape has emerged. What is the mm, kind of major pitfalls, or what is going wrong with the existing programs basically? Why they are unable to delivering the value? So this will actually help to design and implement evidence-based policies, because that sector, again, I'm emphasizing, is kind of only a ray of hope these days that this can deliver value in terms of employment creation or digital entrepreneurship. So this can help policymakers or the GB government to prepare to come up with better plans to use this sector more efficiently. This is a mixed methodology approach. We can call them not exactly, but kind of sequential experientially design. What we did, I want to be like not focusing on the slides. We had like 1400 plus trainees in that program. Out of them, 813 were graduated by fulfilling the 80% attendance and some other criteria. We kind of did impact assessment using a particular framework or the set of questionnaires designed in collaboration with the PITB team, Punjab IT board team. We made phone calls to 813 graduates because the initial, like we had their phone numbers, but our initial experiences with them, no one replies to the survey. Maybe we were unable to, the piloting actually failed. It showed us that doing a survey properly by sending a Google form won't help. So we made phone calls to 813 graduates of the program. And then we used this descriptive analysis for that. But these results were grouped into 3 to 4 like group of questions and were presented to experts in the field. We conducted FGDs and in-depth interviews, presenting the results to them, kind of doing triangulation with them, that if there is a phenomena, why it is happening, what's happening behind that the data is telling us. So it took us like maybe a lot of time to find the experts and to get to them and doing all these things. I don't know whether this is kind of I'm unable to present it properly over here. This can I want to revise some of the themes, but at the same right now we check the response rate from the graduates in that program, the training domains, the students versus graduates. For example, in that last pie chart, it shows that 8% were students that were enrolled in different universities or the HEIs over there, and 92% are the graduates that have graduated a formal degree, and yet they are not unable to find the work, and they're coming to these programs again and again. This is a bigger number because we have our response rate was slow, around 813. We received 300 plus responses and we stopped over there. We presented this kind of data that there is a rise, the more and more graduates coming to these programs, and other students who are involved, they are coming to these programs. So what is the problem? Why are they unable to find work in other sectors? So our experts and all the field experts, or you can say that if people who have been working in the gig economy, they declared that in GB, the only ray of hope right now is the gig economy, is the online freelancing that can do some miracles. Otherwise, there's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of, as I mentioned, social and political unrest that it should be focused. It should not be taken casually. Rather, it's one of the most important sectors and that it needs to be taken at that level. Another interesting question was, even I was interacting with British Council, many other, I won't name the NGOs, a lot of big names. They are working in that area. But when we did a kind of informal chit chat with people studying in there, they are quite frustrated. They thought that they're wasting a lot of time. In some cases, they are paying some fee, they're wasting the money. Then we investigated what's going wrong with these programs, with these big titles, big names, big salaries, and all that. They say that they're falling a prey to the visibility syndrome, where these all institutes are more interested in uh, training people, are making kind of nice finest reports, highest level of numbers they want to train, graduation and training. Maybe we can discuss this some other later time. They are producing more numbers, weak pedagogies, disconnection with the international platforms, what's happening in the international market, what are the demands. They're totally disconnected. They have a traditional curriculum to follow. They have their own ways of designing these programs. That's why after consuming millions, they are unable to produce some good success stories. Third theme that emerged from our data was the government's role. As I mentioned, all these things that I mentioned earlier, uh, we asked the question from the participants that should government be focusing onto that. Overwhelming majority said yes, this is the only way. Please stop spending on tourism. I'm not like, it's not my opinion, but what graduates said, please stop spending on mining and tourism that has not yielded anything so far for us. Go for something that is creating a value for a graduate that is able to earn a decent income over there. The government should be more proactive in that. These are some of the statistics from our survey that they want to consider freelancing as one of, as a profession formally, uh, and then they consider it as a very viable income generation opportunity in GBAs compared to the other traditional sector that government is currently focusing on. Lastly, very interesting, these are actually affecting our degree programs. 25%, almost even more than that. Admissions have declined, like it's a declining rate of the admissions in the university. And we have mentioned two case studies in that paper. You see, these are the graduates who did degrees in some other areas. The left, there are many like that. And Karakum International University is the first right now to offer freelancing as a 3 credit course in regular academic programs just because of these programs. So we inquired if this has to be formally included. Our overwhelming majority said yes, please do something, that our degrees should kind of deliver some value rather than, especially in humanities and social sciences, they were more interested in studying freelancing kind of things in their degree programs.
So we have 2 minutes.
I'm done, sir. So, conclusion is yes, it's finding attraction, but this kind of a contradictory things happening with highly needed, very high poor performance of the programs that need to be understood and uh, you know uh, managed accordingly. Quick policy recommendations. See, as I mentioned, I've been a part of many programs. I'm part of the GP's IT board, government's IT board, a lot of other forums. After having seen all that, my like I would rather suggest after going through all these research and data collection and literature that it should be a freelancing board, not IT board, that is totally focusing on. I've explained more about this idea in my paper. That this is not a typical board. It is much more than that. That it should be one of the leading institutions that is responsible for creating online employment. And then we have to go for smart freelancing hubs that are delivering training, and they're catering for internet and all that. I would tell you, we have 22 hours plus load shedding. Internet is not easily available like it's available in the other parts of the country. I don't want to go to that side. It's kind of limited and given as a medicine. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. And then we have to, in order to train the workforce at a larger scale, traditional IT courses have to be replaced from this curriculum in that particular area. I'm not sure what's going on in other parts of the country, but that area needs to replace the traditional courses. They have to be replaced with entrepreneurship and the digital entrepreneurship and this freelancing. And very last thing, they should uh, one sector we have always, this is my last point, always neglected. A lot of Madaris graduates are there in Gilgit-Baltistan. They're almost equal at par with the university graduates. None of the programs have ever addressed their needs. We had a session with them and they said, we can do it, but no one is there for us. So this was one of the emphasized policy recommendation that any program on freelancing in that area should include these marginalized chunks of the students in them. So thank you so much for giving the opportunity to speak to this August.
Thank
forum.
you,
Thank you.
Nafuzullah Saab. Thank you very much. The next paper is Technology Adoption, Female Entrepreneurs, uh, Target of TDAP, Women Development Program, Misbah Tanveer.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope you can hear me well towards the end as well. All right. Okay, Ji. As mentioned, my name is Mispa Tanveer. I am assistant professor at LUMS, Salman Daud School of Business. My area is because I'm extensively working with the micro entrepreneurs at the moment and giving training to how to use social media platforms for expanding their businesses. That was the motivation why I selected this topic for. When you will be going through my presentation, you will see quite a overlap with the previous presentations because more or less we are talking about the gender disparity, we are talking about the digital acceptance and usage of digital technology for promoting businesses. And my previous fellow, which presented about the Gilgit-Baltistan, I don't know, he would be happy or he would be sad to know that we have similar issues in Lahore as well across the Pakistan. We are not focusing on the targeted policy interventions. So this is not the issue of the GB alone. All right. So I'm going to talk about why digital technology is important. It was already discussed by the first presentation. How it's give more flexibility to women and especially women entrepreneurs because if they want to expand their businesses, given our social culture norms, it is good if we can work from the ease of our home. It will give them more flexibility. What's the objective of doing this impact assessment of TDAP? Objective was because they introduced the program Women Entrepreneurship Development Program to 2023 to 2025. And I want to check what is the impact of this intervention for promoting women entrepreneurship. And I will discuss the challenges I have to face while collecting data and what were the issues with that program. It was already discussed in the second presentation that we ranked 142nd out of 146 countries. If we look at the female labor force participation rate, that is just quite low. And there is a pay gap as well. And it is not only the problem of Pakistan, it is prevailing across the globe. So we should not be worried that even in the developed countries, there is a wage pay gap across men and women. Interestingly, we did really well in the political empowerment, and the credit goes to our one female prime minister. If we look at the gender disparity and the digital divide, when we are saying digital divide, we are talking about not only access, but also the information and skills, how to use these skills, and also about what is the objective of using these skills. We can provide internet access to all women in Pakistan, but what is the objective? Are they are going to watch just TikTok or YouTube dramas, or they are going to use it productively? So does it matter if only 50% women have access, but what is the objective of having that access and how they are using it for promoting empowerment? There is a study, global study, which highlights the and ranked the issues why there is a existence of digital divide. And the first problem in Pakistan for male and female is the lack of digital literacy. And the second one is for men, it is affordability, and for women, it is social and cultural barriers because their family member don't allow them to use this social media because of various reasons. And we know that every other day we have some news in the newspaper about what happened because she posted her picture on the social media. However, we are saying digital divide is there, but it is also a digital enablement is also the enabler for women entrepreneurs if they want to grow their businesses. So we need to focus on providing them training and skills and confidence that they can do it. Literature review, I will not go into detail because of previous presentations. They are talking more or less about the same thing. So what were our research questions? Our research question was whether there is an increase in the information or knowledge about the e-commerce platform after attending this TDAP training program? Or second question was how it is going to impact their business performance, how it's going to impact their sales, profits, market outreach, networking opportunities. And third, related less important, but at the same time, also wanted to focus on how it is going to develop a social capital. Social capital in terms of whether there is increase in the say of their family decisions, or they feel more confident, feel that they are the productive participant in our community or not. And what policy recommendation we can give on the basis of our primary data research to make these training programs more effective and fruitful, because we know that it is our tax money, we are paying the price of these programs. So we also use the mixed method approach, and for primary data they had trained only up till now 90 women, and unfortunately they don't have the proper database for that. And if I have to access those women who have attended the TDAP training, it was really a headache for me, because I have to contact 3, 4, 5 various offices of the TDAP. Even I contacted our Rasta team if they can help me to connect with the relevant people. But at the end of the day, Allah helped us. How? Because there was a conference arranged by the TDAP with the name of VexNet in Lahore. And it was 3 days conference. With my team, we visited there and we collected the data. And it was the only way. Otherwise, they were just giving me, okay, we can do it. Maybe next training, and next training we will see. हमें नहीं पता मैडम से रेफरेंस आया था, किसी ने नाम बता दिया था तो उन्होंने आकर ट्रेनिंग अटेंड कर ली थी। और खवातीन जो है दे आर नॉट comfortable in giving their phone number, तो हम लोग किसी का इशू है आपके साथ डेटा शेयर नहीं कर सकते हैं। For qualitative data, we have conducted a roundtable discussion with the different 14 organizations at SDSP LUMS, and these the participants and stakeholders were belong to academia, government organization, NGOs, and also the most important micro entrepreneurs as well. So what we did that we started with the first with the secondary data analysis and literature review. Then we have a roundtable discussion. On the basis of the finding of those discussions, we have conducted the questionnaire, pilot survey, and then refined it, and then final data collection and report writing. Key metrics which we analyze are the digital skills improvement and business growth indicators, which I'm going to talk about in a little, and then the challenges in digital adoption. If we talk about the demographic profile of our participants, their age range was from 18 to 65 years of age, and only for 4 participants were young girls, otherwise they were more experienced aged women. Their marital status, they were mostly married, 70%, and then 12% were single, and then whether they were divorced or widowed. Because TDAP organized training at various places, basically Lahore and Islamabad, and the participants are coming on the basis of reference from various cities. So we have data, we have the geographical background was showed that 28% were from Attock, 19 were from Multan, 13% from Lahore, and the rest were from different cities which are mentioned here. Interestingly, education level shows that 50% of our participants were whether they were graduated or postgraduate, had postgraduate studies. And when we asked what was the motivation, why you started their business, you know that whenever you are going to start a business, there can be two motivations. One is that it is opportunity driven or it can be a necessity driven, right? But in case of our participant, mostly it was case of the necessity driven, because they mentioned different reasons to earn more money, because they wanted to have flexibility. They also because it gives them financial independence, and few of them quoted that we want to pay back the society. And these are those who are teaching or giving vocational skills to other women and girls. They are running a stitching school or sewing school and training other youth there. Nature of business, it was 62% were the, like as mentioned, handicraft, the thing which comes to your mind. I actually, I also started a business few years back, and it was in UK, right? When I came back and I asked, well, always in the classes when I'm going to have a first session, I asked them, what do you think? What is the nature of my business? And trust me, it's all like, ma'am, um, the best answer is, ma'am, maybe it's a consultancy. Otherwise, oh, some fashion, some clothing, or it may be makeup. So we are not moving out of this thing, and we are not imagining women can go beyond these sectors. Here, because we are talking about micro entrepreneurs, home-based workers. So mostly women are engaged in these sort of activities. They are especially area where they belong. This famous for handmade embroidery as well. And then we have teachers. We have some farming and the latest solution is the jewelry making and spices. And one was the success story with the name of Granny's something, right? And it's huge business now. And she is now sending her organic products in UAE as well. So they themselves claimed after attending this sort of training that again it was not focused. It was not as per the needs of the women entrepreneurs. It was basic training how to use social media for digital marketing. Right? They were able to say that these digital skills have improved significantly. And this was the overall change in business related indicators. They mentioned that their profit has increased, their sales has increased, their market outreach, they're selling in more markets. And few of them said there is no change at all in my business after attending this training, and asked what is the possible reason for this. And they said because हमें पहले तो लगता था we can do it, लेकिन जैसे इन्होंने सिखाया मुझे लगता है हमारे काम ही नहीं है. ठीक है, तो हमने तो पहले जो ऑनलाइन बेचने का सोच भी रहे थे वो भी छोड़ दिया. So there is something wrong with our method of conveying or teaching them, right? um, if you look at the sales, we can see that there was a significant increase in sales. But one thing which we should not forget here is that we are talking about micro entrepreneurs. They are, and we're talking about the profit they are earning if more than 20,000. That is high profit. So if they are earning more than 20,000, which is less than your minimum wage, so we are talking, it's a base effect which is reflecting here as well. So this is the one limitation we need to do at different levels. So then we can see this is the change we are expecting from this training. So if we look at the profit before and after training, you can see that initially 35% reported that they were earning up to 5,000 rupees profit. And when you are going to after training, this number increased to 40%. Access to sport also help them to work in a more they said okay, whenever there will be some issue, we will go to that women network and they will suggest a solution how to deal with this issue. So because we had just 80 observation, but still we were interested to look at some this is the first study, primary study from my side. I am the econometrician. I use in empirical modeling. And we see that because there was 80 number of observations which are not large enough to deduce anything, but at least it can give us some indication. Our dependent variable was profit, was a categorical variable, so we used the ordered logit model here for survey data. And these were the odd ratios we were able to calculate. And we can see that if you have attended a training, your likelihood to fall in the higher profit category, that is 20,000 plus, will increase from 3.3 to 3.4.56 times. That reflects why I'm using 5 or 6 models, just because as mentioned in the how to design a right questions in the few days back, they mentioned in marriage, in a wedding, bride and groom are important, parents are not. But here, because of social culture norms, I believe parents are important as well. So I include other variables which can influence the profit. But the thing to note is that our training indicators still remain significant, which shows the robustness of our finding that trainings can influence the profitability of these micro entrepreneurs. All right. So qualitative study were more or less same. I'm going to just going to the policy recommendation. Policy recommendation is based on the mixture of qualitative as well as quantitative findings. So experts, we are giving them training, but the thing is, we don't have resources in our local language, languages, native languages. We need to develop resources there. And secondly, it is really for women to convince them out their family members that they are coming out of their home for whole 2 days or 3 days. So it's better to develop a small modules, and we are going to share with them on WhatsApp so that they can use it as per their convenience.
Madam, please wrap it up.
All right. So collaboration strategies, there were 14 organizations, and we realized all of are working an excellent job, but we are working in silos. So we need to collaborate more with even PIDE, they are organizing their trainings themselves. And the person who was organizing it, I don't think he is that expert in that area. So conclusion is that empowering women through digital enablement is not about promoting their businesses. It is about giving them option and choices to live as per their desires, as well as it is a one step forward towards meeting our SDGs where we are really lagging behind. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, madam. Finally, the last paper, gender gap in digital financial literacy and financial inclusion, Punjab.
Assalamualaikum and good morning. Am I audible? Okay. First of all, introduce myself. My name is Dr. Taira Sadaf, and I am in between assistant professor and associate right now. And the topic of my project was a study on implications of gender gap in digital financial literacy and financial inclusion for women entrepreneurs in Punjab, Pakistan. I'm thankful to MISPA. We share some common pains that it is very difficult to reach entrepreneurs. There is no list available, even at Punjab level. Faisalabad is the second largest city of Punjab. These were my objectives, and the core objective was to assess the effect of digital financial literacy on financial inclusion in female entrepreneurs in Punjab, Pakistan. But at Pakistan level, I assessed a gender gap in financial inclusion as well as in financial literacy, gender gap in financial literacy and digital financial literacy at Punjab level, and gender gap in financial inclusion at Punjab level. Okay, this was the study based in Punjab, but I was recommended during midterm presentation that I should confine to Faisalabad, and luckily Faisalabad was the second largest city with a large number of female entrepreneurs after Lahore, and we use both primary and secondary sources of data. The secondary data was used for two purposes, one for sampling and the other one for meeting our first objective to see the financial inclusion level at Pakistan. And the primary data was collected on the basis of a structured questionnaire that we developed on the basis of extensive review of literature. And for sampling purpose, we first selected the district, and then we decided on the number of entrepreneurs we must do interviews with and do the survey with. So from PSLM, we first extracted the females, then entrepreneurs. Then we decided on the district, which was Faisalabad, where there were 25% respondents out of total employed female in the district, which were related to entrepreneurial activities. So I won't go into detail of this table, but on the basis of formula, we opted, we had to contact at least 20 or as much as 100 female, and we could successfully make to reach 100 females. And for finding the gender gap, we also contacted 137 male respondents. Okay, first of all, the difficulty is how to define an entrepreneur in Pakistan. If you look at carefully, Mispa has told you that there are businesses, female entrepreneurs are related to micro level. But you see, there is no definition of micro enterprise in Pakistan. In our latest SME policy, as well as State Bank of Pakistan is not defining it. So I followed all the available resources and defined micro enterprises, small enterprises, and medium enterprises. And this was the basic way of defining micro, small, and medium enterprises in our questionnaire. On the basis of review of literature, आप सिर्फ टेबल देख लें कि हमने कितना काम किया, फिर हम इस पे वापस आते हैं. So this is how can we define financial inclusion on the basis of review of literature. एंड में जो है वो क्वेश्चंस दिए गए हैं जो हम लोगों ने डेवलप किए इस लिटरेचर की बुनियाद पे. ओके, कमिंग बैक टू द समराइज्ड वर्जन. ओके, सो फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन, लोग ये समझते हैं कि बैंक अकाउंट है तो फाइनेंशियली इंक्लूडेड है. इट इज नॉट लाइक दैट. इट्स एक्सेस टू फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज as well as usage of financial services, as well as awareness of formal products and quality of financial services. These all three to four elements are very important for making an individual being financially included. And we included this into our multidimensional index. The second important variable in our study was financial literacy. And financial literacy is also defined on the basis of an extensive review of literature. Usko bhi aap dekh lein. So these are variables in descriptions, and then sources are given. At the end, we reached at some questions on the basis of these dimensions. So financial literacy includes the basic knowledge of financial services, the knowledge of interest rate, knowledge of inflation, knowledge of bonds, knowledge of securities, risks, and returns. Digital financial literacy, Mispa talked about digital divide. So if we mix digital literacy and financial literacy, you reach at digital financial literacy, and we summarize it in the form of the basic knowledge, if the respondent is having the basic knowledge, and sometimes it is demand driven, and if the respondent is having awareness and some practical know-how, how to open an app, how to use a mobile banking online. So these were included in our questions, in our questionnaire. So after मेरा पूरा project का duration था 6 months और 4 महीने मुझे जो है questionnaire बनाने में लगे. So this was the final shape of questionnaire. Section number 1 was general information of the business and the respondent. Second section was related to financial inclusion. The third one was related to financial literacy. And the fourth one was related to digital financial literacy. Okay, there were basically there were 5 objectives, but you can divide it into 2, looking into the situation at Pakistan level and looking into the situation at Punjab level. For Pakistan level, we do have the secondary source, that is World Bank's Global Findex of 2021. But for Punjab level, and especially for entrepreneurs, we needed to conduct the survey. And after this long exercise, we concluded that we need to make a multidimensional index. And this index, the first type of index was financial inclusion index. And the weights were assigned according to the importance of the question. Because sometimes if you are asked कि आपके पास ATM है, that is not important. आप ATM use करते हैं, that is more important. Or this is obvious from the literature available as well. So we assign weight accordingly. And the financial inclusion index was ranged between 0 and 1. 0 का मतलब है not included, and 1 means fully included. And in between situations भी हो सकती हैं. तो उसको हमने dummy में transfer किया. More than 0.5, 1 was included, and less than 0.5 and 0.5 itself was not included. Financial literacy index जो है that was based on World Bank's insights, and it ranges between 0 to 21. 0 means less financial literacy, and 21 means fully financial literate. And FLI score was also developed as a percentage score on the basis of this index. And the third one was FLI categorized, where you can see that whether the respondent is in low category, moderate, or high. Similarly, the Digital Financial Literacy Index was also a multidimensional index, and there were also three forms of digital financial literacy: the score itself, the index itself, and the DFL score, which was percentage based, and the DFL category, which was low, moderate, and high levels. I will quickly go through the findings of Global Findex survey, क्योंकि मिड टर्म में मुझे ये कमेंट मिला था कि ये तो कोई भी डाउनलोड करके उस पे एनालिसिस कर सकता है, लेकिन मेरा काफी टाइम लगा था इस एनालिसिस पे. Okay, so if you look at the global situation, there are 76% 76% individuals which are adults which are having an account. And if we look at in different economies, so high income countries are having 96% financial inclusion. और पाकिस्तान जो है वो पीछे क्यों रहे? We are at third number for being unbanked. और अगर आप देखें तो these 6 countries constitute half of the global population जो कि unbanked हैं, and Pakistan is at third after India and China. इंडिया और चाइना का तो हमें समझ आता है कि वो बड़े मुल्क हैं तो वो टॉप पे आ गई उनकी पॉपुलेशन, बट हमारा तीसरे नंबर पे होना दैट इज क्रूशियल. And coming to the results at Pakistan level, there is no improvement since 2017. And there are only 21% adults who are having account ownership. And the gender gap is alarming, that is 15%, and it has not improved even in 1 decade. Darker area jo hai, it represents the gender gap being for being unbanked. So female are disproportionately being unbanked as compared to men. और पाकिस्तान जो है वो यहाँ पे dark blue है. We belong to low middle income countries, और उसमें भी हम एंड में हैं, लास्ट पे हैं. मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव जो थे वो हम लोगों ने अपने प्राइमरी डेटा के थ्रू किए. आई क्विकली गो थ्रू दोस रिजल्ट्स. ओके, माइक्रो, मैंने जैसे कि पहले बताया कि माइक्रो एंटरप्राइज की पाकिस्तान में डेफिनेशन कोई नहीं है, लेकिन हमारी कोई 60% के करीब एंटरप्रेन्योर्स जो थे, दोज फॉर माइक्रो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स. और उस जेंडर गैप जो है वो तीनों में ऑब्वियस है, लेकिन आप देखें माइक्रो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स में फीमेल जो हैं वो ज्यादा हैं, और मेल जो हैं वो उनकी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन इतनी अनइवन नहीं है, लेकिन फीमेल जो है वो ज्यादातर उनका ताल्लुक जो है वो माइक्रो एंटरप्राइज के साथ है. ओके, ओवरऑल फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी का स्कोर इतना ज्यादा डिसअपॉइंटिंग नहीं है. इट्स ए मॉडरेट फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी. बट इफ यू टॉक अबाउट द जेंडर गैप, तो जेंडर गैप जो है वो दैट इज स्टैटिस्टिकली सिग्निफिकेंट इन केस ऑफ फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी. I will quickly wind up because I'm left with less time. Financial literacy में भी जेंडर गैप जो है वो स्टैटिस्टिकली सिग्निफिकेंट है, फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन में भी और डिजिटल फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी में भी. एंड डिजिटल फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी के जेंडर गैप की वजह से फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन जो है वो फीमेल एंटरप्रेन्योर की वो भी स्टैटिस्टिकली सिग्निफिकेंटली इफेक्ट हो रही है. सो आज का टेक अवे लेसन यही है कि if you want entrepreneurs to boost GDP of Pakistan and particularly our female entrepreneurs, तो हमें उनको जो है वो डिजिटली फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी की तरफ लाना पड़ेगा. हमें स्पेशली वो वाले प्रोग्राम्स जो हैं वो डिजाइन करने पड़ेंगे जो डिजिटल फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी को फीमेल्स के लिए पार्टिकुलरली जो है वो बढ़ाएं. और ऑब्वियसली इट कैन नॉट हैपन विदाउट इम्प्रूविंग द ओवरऑल लिटरेसी लेवल. ये तो चूंकि पंजाब की बात हो रही है और पंजाब में भी फैसलाबाद की बात हो रही है जहाँ पे एजुकेशनल फैसिलिटीज काफ़ी ज़्यादा हैं, लेकिन इफ़ वी टॉक अबाउट जीबी, इफ़ वी टॉक अबाउट बलोचिस्तान, इफ़ वी टॉक अबाउट केपी के, तो वहाँ पे जो है वो सिचुएशन इससे वर्स भी हो सकती है. सो इट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट दैट वी focus on those national strategies where digital financial literacy is given some due importance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I request our discussant to discuss the 5 papers presented today in this session. Interesting topics, ladies, females, financial inclusion, and especially I like the topic of impact of TDAP program on women development.
first of all, I would like to say my thanks to Dr. Nadeem, who has provided me this opportunity. And I would also like to thank the Rasta. And most important thing, I am privileged to be here. And I would like to discuss the human capital and opportunities, a theme which is very much resonate with the Rasta concept. On the whole, before digging up deeply about the discussion, I would like to acknowledge the commendable efforts made by all the authors and the topic selected. You did well researched and presented well. But what I have found so many weaknesses, and definitely there are strengths in the paper, and that was in the documents basically. So before going into deeply separately about the papers, I would like to say some journal comments, and I would like to, for improvement. Uh, I would like to, sorry, I mean, these my comments are just to encourage you and you make the studies more readable. And when they publish, so can they can use for further analysis. So what I found in all the papers, especially which all of you have presented here on the human capital, there is the first thing which I found missing was why element. You discussed, all of you have discussed what is this and how it will be achieved, or how it will be done. But you miss the element why you are doing this, why there we can say this is a gap. Like you have not never covered that gap, that why you are doing this, why you are using this technology, why you are using this sample technique, why you have taken this sample size and all that kind of things. Secondly, what I found journal, that was about coherence. All of you have missed the coherence in your papers. Like you have taken off from one point and you are landed on another point. And for example, there's a lot of gaps in this direction. When you have started from one point, and when you landed at the end and you are giving the recommendation for policies, they are mismatching with each other. If we make the story, then definitely there is lack of coherence. What another discrepancy I found, that is the justification of sample selections, how you calculate it, why you chosen this sample, that I have already mentioned. Then again, the justification was missing, that when you are choosing this topic, why it is important. In the sense that I think 3 or 4 of papers were discussing about freelancing, and you are just discussing the basics of freelancing, whereas now freelancing is moved forward toward the artificial intelligence. This is basic like content writing and other contents like simple freelancing when the freelancing was started. And you did not mention that why it is important to we have to focus on freelancing. Many papers miss this element also, that why we focus on freelancing and how we focus on this. Just training, training, training. So my point of view is that there is something missing in the papers. So if you want that I give all the points separately for all the papers, so one gap which also I found in your write-up, that was when you are talking about variables, like we are using usually the mixed method approach when we have to validate the data and for triangulation. But all of the studies have mentioned that we are using the mixed method approach, but their triangulation is missing. Triangulation is something when you are taking the uh, same data, for example, you are focus group discussion, you did first the focus group discussion, later on you have found some themes from there, then you have question on those themes, and then later on you have collect the secondary data on the same theme. But here I found you are taking for few variables the qualitative data techniques, and for the other variables you are using PSLM or other techniques, and there are a lot of such things are there. Secondly, triangulation is in a proper way, it's also missing. Like you are talking about, we have used qualitative and quantitative data. Why you have used the qualitative? If you are getting your result from qualitative data, there is no need of quantitative data. And if you are getting your result from quantitative, there is no need of qualitative. Transformation is required when you have to validate something. But validation, I did not found anywhere the validation. There is just that we are using mixed method approach and um, so on. And one thing which is very important, novelty is missing. That is a big gap in the research. Why, when you're talking about the training consequences of TDAP or something, I'm just, for the example, I'm saying this. Like, when you land it, it was not the evaluation of that program. It was something different. And similarly, when he talked about the GB, like Gilgis Baltistan, about the freelancing, when he landed, he gave the different implications and discussions. So a lot of gaps are there, and there is need to improve them. And what is your suggestion? Can I give the comments and discuss as a discussion on separate? So you can take it from me later on. It's what is your suggestion? I think you
Out of time now.
yeah. So it's that I will discuss all of you because I have made separate remarks. So you can improve your studies. And one thing, the write-up should be improved. Frankly speaking, the write-up is not up to the mark. I again saying that the storytelling is missing in your research. When I was reading the papers, uh, I was getting bored. The paper should not be like that. You're starting something and you don't want to study further. So I would suggest let's just make the write-up more attractive. Yeah, your presentations were very good, and the presentation was covering all the gaps. But I found these gaps in the documents. So there is need to so that because the documents are for further studies and for further implementation. So I would recommend that revise the studies, and you can take the remarks from me later on. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone.
Thank you, madam. Now, before I invite questions, just very few comments about the first study. I don't know. I am myself very much interested in education, and I don't know. You are talking about synergies in educational service. While we have already almost come to a stage where we have abdicated the responsibility of education to the private sector. So, interesting topic. And another point which I found interesting was the difference in fee and honoraria. So, if you see the uh, the honoraria or the whatever salary you call it in in a primary or middle school in a uh, small private sector school or even run by NGOs, since I know it, I have first-hand information. That is, as you mentioned, that is less than the basic minimum wage, and minimum wage is for the PN, right? And our private school teacher is getting much less than that. So this was very interesting. There are a few points I thought I must raise. The second thing is job satisfaction among women. I was looking at the bar chart you were showing, and the figure for 2018 was the lowest, and the score was 21.719. You related it with COVID, but COVID came after 2 years. So maybe 2008 was the lowest point when overall employment rate was down. So maybe it was because of that, but I can't comment on that. Freelancing landscape in GB, very interesting topic, and I was startled to hear that the literacy rate is 74% and the unemployment rate is also 74-75%. Very serious thing. Lastly, I'll come to the gender gap in digital financial literacy. किसने मैडम जिन्होंने दिया था पेपर, आपने बीबी जो फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी की डेफिनेशन बताई है फॉर वुमेन, इस हॉल में 90% लोग जो है उनको नहीं पता होगा कि आपकी सिक्योरिटीज कितनी है और उसके इंटरेस्ट रेट्स कितने हैं, उसका रिस्क एलिमेंट कितना है. Because I am DG debt and I deal with it, I swear I can tell you 90% don't know. So, chale, theek hai. So, this was one thing. Now, and the standard deviation you said with a mean of 48 and the standard deviation of 16, मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा unusual लगा, but I can't comment on that because मैंने paper इतनी detail में नहीं पढ़ा था. ठीक है? Thank you very much, and now I'll invite question answers.
Thank you. I'm Karim Khan from PIDE. And actually, these are very interesting studies, and some very good comments are made by the discussant already. I have two questions. One is from Shabana, and the other is from Misbah. Actually, Shabana was talking in the introduction about co-creation and co-destruction. So I was thinking of something about Schumpeterian creative destructions. In other words, I was thinking that some intervention has been made in Punjab, and she is looking at the impact of that intervention for co-creation or co-destruction. But actually, I found nothing. And the result, actually, she told us that increase the salaries at least to the minimum wage rate. But we know that salaries in the public sector is more than the minimum wage rate, but actually we don't have inequality, neither do we have any improvement in the enrollment. Likewise, she's talking about the access, increase the number of schools. Actually, these are very generic. I was looking at your results from the perspective of co-creation and co-destruction. And if this is not the case, then seriously, please remove these things from the introduction part. Actually, your results and your policy recommendation doesn't match with your introduction then. Likewise, for the paper of Misbah, actually you found that the people who attended the TDEP training have raised their profits, or their profits increases with the training in TDEP. But actually, don't you think that people who are earning profits, they are usually interested in innovations or in trainings? And actually, it is one of the finding of the study in PIDE. Actually, people who are running good businesses, they are interested in trainings. So what do I mean by this? Actually, your that finding is really endogenous. So do think what that finding because you are econometrician, as you told us. Thank you.
We'll take 3 or 4 questions, then we'll go for answers, right? Give us.
So quick question and comments. So जो PPP का है तो उस हवाले से 2 ऑब्जर्वेशंस हैं और उस पे अगर रिस्पॉन्ड कर सकते हैं कि एक तो ये है कि जो मतलब जैसे हमारे यहाँ फक्तन फोक्तन बज़वर्ड्स आ जाते हैं ना, सो PPP इज सॉर्ट ऑफ एवरीवेयर, बलूचिस्तान में भी हम कर रहे हैं, तो सीन एज सम काइंड ऑफ अ सिल्वर बुलेट, यू नो। तो सबसे पहले तो ये हमें अगर बता सकें कि PPP का प्रॉमिस और लिमिटेशंस हैं क्या, यानी क्या वाकई मिसाल के तौर पर अगर दूर दराज इलाके हैं तो क्या पीपीपी वहां पे उसको हल कर सकता है हमारे मसले को, यू नो। सो इन अ सेंस इज इट द केस कि जो हमारे मैनेजमेंट चैलेंजेस हैं, यू नो, विदाउट चेंजिंग अवर मैनेजमेंट स्ट्रक्चर वी समहाउ थिंक कि उसको प्राइवेट सेक्टर के हवाले करने से वो कोई जो है ना वो एलेक्जेर है और वो पेनासिया है कि और हर चीज एकदम ठीक हो जाएगी, यू नो, विदाउट अस यू नो सॉर्ट ऑफ चेंजिंग एनीथिंग, ठीक है ना। एक तो ये उस हवाले से, और स्पेशली क्योंकि पंजाब इज सॉर्ट ऑफ द एटलीस्ट अहेड ऑफ यू नो सम ऑफ द अदर प्रोविंसेस इन दिस, तो उस पर उस पे। और दूसरा ये जो गिग इकोनॉमी और आईटी सेक्टर के वो, एज आई वाज लिसनिंग टू द कंक्लूजन्स डिस्पाइट देयर लिमिटेशंस, कि ऑलमोस्ट रिमाइंडेड मी ऑफ 19th century टेक्सटाइल सेक्टर, यू नो, जो टेक्सटाइल मिल्स में जो हालत होती कि देयर इज दिस मास ऑफ अनएम्प्लॉयड, यू नो, और पीपल, और वो जो फैक्ट्री वाला है वो अपनी मर्जी से जिसको रखे, जब फायर कर दे, जब वो कर दे। सो इन अ वे कि ये जो बजवर्ड हमने क्रिएट किए हैं अराउंड दिस, हाँ, right, are we sort of creating in the name of IT and gig economy, are we creating the 21st century version of the lumpen proletariat, which is worse than the, you know, in a way, yani do we yani as a society, as an economy, do we need to sort of create valuable jobs, right, and we really need to think about it rather than sort of running after this bandwagon of, you know, IT. Thank you.
जो पेपर इन्होंने प्रेजेंट किया था, जो शिफ्ट फ्रॉम ऑनलाइन टू ऑन साइट जॉब्स, उसमें मैडम ने काफ़ी हमें बताया भी है कि मिसअलाइनमेंट है थोड़ी बहुत, जिसमें जो टेक्निक्स उन्होंने यूज़ किए स्नोबॉल सैम्पलिंग में, इससे हमारी जो जनरलाइजिंग पावर होती है रिजल्ट्स की, वो बहुत कम हो जाती है, और ऊपर से सैंपल साइज भी जो है वो 91 ऑब्जर्वेशन ही है। तो एज बीइंग अ स्टूडेंट ऑफ रिसर्च, हम इसको किस तरह से इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं, और इस मिसअलाइनमेंट को या फिर जो भी इस तरह के प्रॉब्लम हमें फेस आए, तो इसको फर्दर इन फ्यूचर हम किस तरह से इम्प्रूव करें?
जी, my concern is regarding TDAP study. The sample size of TDAP women with no registration I don't think कि this is a reasonable sample that can allow a meaningful study on the topic, and therefore the outcome of the study is quite questionable. Secondly, the gender gap study on financial inclusion and digital, I think a distinction needs to be made between economically active women with bank accounts versus the housewives. When we include everything, then the obviously the percentage will go down. Thank you.
I think I've also gone through some of the papers अभी तो जो मुझे एक बड़ा गैप नजर आ रहा है वो ये है कि कोई भी एज सच पॉलिसी व्यू पॉइंट से कोई रिकमेंडेशन ऐसी नहीं है which could be taken forward. So I mean, as far as research itself is concerned, उसकी mechanics, that's very well. बहुत अच्छा literature review है, बहुत अच्छा methodology का जो part है वो that's very well written. But at the day end और अगर conclusion studies के end पे जब आप देखेंगे पढ़ेंगे तो बहुत सारी conclusion में ऐसी बातें आ जाती हैं जो और लोगों के papers के conclusion है. That's not the conclusion of the very exact study which you are going through. तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा डिस्कनेक्ट है एंड आई थिंक वी नीड और ऑफ कोर्स ऐसा ही होता है जो यंग रिसर्चर्स होते हैं इस फेज से सभी लोग गुजरते हैं हम भी गुजरे हैं एक जमाने में तो आई मीन बट इसको फर्दर बार बार प्रेजेंट करना अपने काम को लोगों से फीडबैक लेना फिर उसे इनकॉर्पोरेट करना दैट्स गोइंग टू इम्प्रूव इट so eventually this all work which has been presented here we appreciate that but I would urge कि ये प्रोसेस रुकना नहीं चाहिए ये स्टडीज आपके पेपर्स अनटिल 2-3 और कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में प्रेजेंट नहीं हो जाते अपने आप अपने रिस्पेक्टिव डिपार्टमेंट्स में प्रेजेंट करें जहाँ पे भी आप लोग कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं पढ़ा रहे हैं या रिसर्च कर रहे हैं एंड गेट फीडबैक एंड देन इम्प्रूव इट तो इज अ काइंड ऑफ ऑन गोइंग प्रोसेस तो कई आइटरेशंस के बाद जाके इट वुड बी पॉसिबल कि इससे कोई ऐसी 3 या 4 लाइनें निकलेंगी which can then directly contribute toward policy making in the country. So that's a kind of a general observation.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. Especially I was looking at the last study on the gender gap financial inclusion. Now I was Secretary IT also, and I was Special Secretary Finance, and right now I am DG Debt. So I was looking at it that what is the policy prescription which is coming from to me if I am Secretary IT or if I am the DG Debt or in the Special Secretary in the Ministry of Finance. That is precisely lacking. जो कल ऐसा इकबाल साहब ने बात कही थी वो यही थी कि आपकी ग्रांट भी बहुत अच्छी थी आपने काम भी बड़ा अच्छा किया बट आउटकम क्या निकला एक रिसर्च पेपर एक साइटेशन नथिंग फॉर द पॉलिसी प्रिस्क्रिप्शन
जी सर थैंक यू सो मच आई कंप्लीटली एग्री और मैंने भी यही कमेंट्स लिखे हुए हैं कि let me quickly just go through 3-4 papers. Shabana का जो paper education में is very exciting, very interesting. It tells a lot about the whole landscape. But Shabana जब आप अपनी recommendations में आती हैं and you talk about के salary बढ़ा दें, you talk about के access का issue है तो school बना दें, you say के tech infrastructure बना दें, but you don't talk about how. जो एक्शनेबल सॉल्यूशंस हैं देखें ये रिसर्चर की जिम्मेदारी है कि वो बताए कि मैं जो रिकमेंडेशन दे रहा हूँ वो कैसे है इफ यू आर टेलिंग कि गवर्नेंस जो है उसको इम्प्रूव होने की जरूरत है तो वो हमें पता है बट ये रिसर्चर की जिम्मेदारी है कि वो उसको बताए कि वो उसमें कौन सी एंटिटी का क्या रोल होगा फाइनेंशियल कितने चाहिए होंगे किस किस एक्टर ने क्या रोल प्ले करना है तो दैट इज द core responsibility of the researcher, not just to apply a method and come out and with an interpretation of data, but to suggest solutions and actionable solutions. यही बात डॉक्टर नदीम जावेद भी कर रहे हैं यही बात सर भी कर रहे हैं सुमेरा आपका जो पेपर है अगेन इट्स इंटरेस्टिंग आपने लोकल नहीं बताया कि कहाँ पे किस जगह पे आप लोगों ने ये कंडक्ट किया है स्नो बॉलिंग यूज की है तो कैसे आपने यूज की है or please you don't have to show each and every number in your slide just focus on the key numbers जो key message है सिर्फ वो दिखाएं आप लोग स्टूडेंट्स हैं पाइट के you should learn these things कि आपको क्या प्रेजेंट करना है बाकी तमाम डिटेल आपके पेपर में मौजूद है वो इतना ज्यादा क्लटरिंग थी वहां पे नंबर्स की चीजों की कि वो ढूंढना पड़ रहा था कि आप जो मैसेज देना चाह रहे हैं वो कौन सा नंबर है एटलीस्ट उसको हाईलाइट कर दें उस नंबर को कि वहां पे नजर जाए बंदे की कि वो देख रहा है कि वो नंबर कहाँ पे है एंड ओनली फोकस ऑन योर की फाइंडिंग्स ठीक है थोड़ा इंप्रूव करें उसको फाइंडिंग्स अच्छी हैं एंड नाउ आई अंडरस्टैंड कि आपके मेंटोर्स जो कंप्लेन कर रहे थे ना कि आप कर नहीं रहे हैं काम या प्रोग्रेस नहीं हो रहा है, नाउ आई अंडरस्टैंड कि आप खुद कंफ्यूज कर रहे हैं अपने मेंटोर्स को। थोड़ा थोड़ा क्रिस्पी जाए। महफूजुल्लाह, आपके जो स्टडी है जीबी के अंदर, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। रैक ने इसको सपोर्ट किया था बिकॉज वी एक्चुअली वांटेड टू लुक एट फ्रीलांसिंग का जो स्कोप है जीबी के अंदर। बट व्हाट आई डोंट सी इन योर पेपर इज के आपने जीबी गवर्नमेंट पे बात नहीं की है। जीबी गवर्नमेंट ने क्या रोल प्ले किया है इसके अंदर और उसको क्या रोल प्ले करना चाहिए। एंड देन विद द पीपल यू स्पोक, उसका आउटकम या इम्पैक्ट क्या निकला है अभी तक। जिन लोगों ने वो ट्रेनिंग्स ली हैं वो स्पेसिफिक आउटकम क्या है, लाइक इनकम जनरेशन क्या उनकी हुई है, क्या जॉब असाइनमेंट्स वो ले रहे हैं। आपने अपनी रिकमेंडेशंस में कह दिया कि फ्रीलांसिंग हब आपको चाहिए, क्यों चाहिए आप। सो यू शुड इट्स नॉट जस्ट अगेन कि आप कह दें कि जी फ्रीलांसिंग हब मुझे चाहिए। यू शुड जस्टिफाई दैट थिंग कि वो क्यों चाहिए आप। अगर आप कह रहे हैं कि लोग ट्रेनिंग कोर्सेज लेके जा रहे हैं, उनको जॉब नहीं मिल रही, वो दोबारा ट्रेनिंग कोर्स में वापस आ रहे हैं, तो क्यों आ रहे हैं वापस आके। अगर उनको कोई जॉब नहीं मिल रही है या कोई चीज नहीं हो रही, तो थोड़ा डिग डीपर करें। आपको हमने बहुत स्पेसिफिक केस दिया है गिलगित का, और आइडियली गिलगित में तो 5G इंटरनेट अवेलेबल है, तो वहां पे तो ये चीजें इस्लामाबाद से ज्यादा जो है वो फास्ट पेस पे जानी चाहिए। फिर यू सेड के पुअर परफॉर्मेंस जो है वो प्रोग्राम की है, बट यू डिड नॉट टॉक अबाउट कि वो क्यों है उस प्रोग्राम की पुअर परफॉर्मेंस। इज इट बिकॉज ऑफ द कोर्स कंटेंट, इज इट बिकॉज ऑफ द फैसिलिटीज, इज इट बिकॉज ऑफ अदर इश्यूज, कोई नॉलेज गैप है वहां पे। सो जो फैक्टर्स हैं वो आपके मिसिंग हैं उस पूरे एक स्वीपिंग स्टेटमेंट की पीछे, कि वो पुअर परफॉर्मेंस है उस प्रोग्राम की बहुत बुरी। फाइनली आपने अपने रिकमेंडेशंस में कह दिया कि मदरसास को जो हैं वो इन्वॉल्व करें इन ट्रेनिंग्स में। अगेन, जो चीज आपके स्कोप का पार्ट नहीं है, जिसको आपने डिस्कस नहीं किया है, जिसको आपने स्टडी नहीं किया है, हाउ कुड यू मेक अ रिकमेंडेशन ऑफ दैट। आपने मदरसास को स्टडी नहीं किया अपने पेपर के अंदर, तो वाई हाउ कम यू आर गिविंग अ रिकमेंडेशन के मदरसास को जो है वो इंक्लूड कर लें। फाइनली ये मिसबा तनवीर लम्स का जो पेपर है, अगेन इट्स इंटरेस्टिंग। माय क्वेश्चन इज कि मैंने एक एमफिल थीसिस करवाया था और वो फीमेल टेफ्ट के ऊपर था। एंड व्हाट वी फाउंड वाज कि जितनी भी सक्सेस स्टोरीज क्रिएट हुई थी उसमें एक इन्फ्लुएंशियल मेल मौजूद था, खातून की। वो आप खवातीन कहती ना, मर्दों की, कामयाब मर्द के पीछे एक औरत का हाथ होता है, तो कामयाब औरत के पीछे एक मर्द का हाथ होता है। अब वो हस्बैंड हो सकता है, वो भाई हो सकता है, वो बाप हो सकता है, बट उनकी इजाजत और सपोर्ट के बगैर हमारे माशरे में खातून जो है वो नहीं है। तो अगर इसको कर सकें थोड़ा, कि वो दिखाएं कि वो इन्फ्लुएंशियल पर्सन, आपने वो सोशल नेटवर्क्स का तो जिक्र किया, सपोर्टिव नेटवर्क का, बट वो घर में जो बैठा हुआ है ना बंदा, उसकी सपोर्ट के बगैर वो नहीं हो रहा होता कुछ भी। ठीक है, तो इस चीज को करें। और हमें सक्सेस को प्रमोट करने की जरूरत है खवातीन की, क्योंकि उससे पेरेंट्स को और उस इन्फ्लुएंशियल मेल को थोड़ी कॉन्फिडेंस मिलेगा कि मेरे घर की बेटी भी, बीवी भी जो है वो ये अचीव कर सकती है। कमिंग टू द लास्ट, आई एम वेरी सॉरी सर, लास्ट कमेंट। ताहिरा, प्लीज, मैंने कल भी कुछ प्रेजेंटेशंस में नोट किया था, बाकियों के लिए भी, जब आप डेटा प्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं विच इज सेकेंडरी डेटा इन नेचर, प्लीज खुदा के वास्ते साइट किया करें उसको प्रॉपरली। साइट तो करें वो डेटा आ कहाँ से रहा है। ठीक है, कल भी यहाँ पे मैंने कुछ ग्राफ्स देखे, उसमें सिर्फ वर्ल्ड बैंक लिखा हुआ है, अब कुछ नहीं पता वर्ल्ड बैंक की कौन सी रिपोर्ट है, कौन से साल की है, कहाँ से आ रही है। तो प्लीज प्रॉपर साइटेशंस करें। और पॉलिसी रिकमेंडेशंस में आप सबसे ये रिक्वेस्ट है कि इस चीज पे फोकस करें कि व्हाट शुड बी डन एंड हाउ इट शुड बी डन। Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me time. I rather have a comment instead of a question. बहुत सारी बातें हुई gender gap की, inclusivity की, female की, but by far I want to commend this forum. If you look at the presentation, so I think this is by far the more female dominant rather than inclusive session. And if you look at the audience, so you can see that many females are there. So right from the students to the early researchers to the seasoned professors, all are coming here and presenting. So I must commend the forum for giving this opportunity to the better half of our country. Thank you.
जो क्वेश्चंस हैं मोर और लेस अगर मैं इस बात को आंसर कर सकूंगी वेदर पीपीपी इज अ फाइनेंशियल और पजल, तो शायद बाकी क्वेश्चंस भी एड्रेस हो जाए। तो जो आपने क्वेश्चन रेज किया कि क्या पीपीपी बलूचिस्तान के लिए भी एप्लीकेबल है, क्या पंजाब से हम कुछ सबक सीख सकते हैं? पीपीपी इम्प्लीमेंट करने से मसले हल हो जाएंगे? नो। वाई? अगेन सेंट्रलाइजेशन वहीं पर ही है, अगेन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, इंटर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट वहीं पर ही है, अगेन इंक्लूसिव डिसीजंस नहीं है। तो हम पीपीपी को क्यों लेकर आए थे? बिकॉज वी हैड द पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू कि प्राइवेट सेक्टर आएगा तो वो प्राइवेट बिजनेस और बिजनेस प्रैक्टिसेस के साथ चलेगा। नो डाउट देयर इज अ डिफरेंस, डिफरेंस कुछ तो है जिसमें आप जो स्कूल लेवल पे ज्यादा ऑटोनॉमी है एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के हिसाब से, बट जो मेन प्रॉब्लम है ना वो फाइनेंस की है। पीपी तो आप लेकर आ गए, जब फाइनेंस ही आपके पास नहीं है, हाउ द प्रॉब्लम्स विल बी रिजॉल्व्ड? सो पीपीपी खुद ने तो उन्होंने क्रिएट नहीं करने हैं फाइनेंशियल रिसोर्सेज। जो स्कूल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन है वो ये नहीं कह रही है कि हम खुद अपने, प्राइवेट सेक्टर खुद अपने पैसे लेकर आ रहा है। प्राइवेट सेक्टर ये कह रहा है कि आप हमें देंगे ₹650 पर चाइल्ड, विच इज टू लो वैसे, बट आपने कहा कि 650 आपको पर चाइल्ड मिलेंगे, अब आप स्कूल रन करें। ठीक है। और आपने एक क्लास में 30 बच्चे बिठाने हैं, 30 बच्चों के हिसाब से 19,000 में आपने क्लास चलानी है, तो आप देख लें आप टीचर को 6,000 ही देंगे। ठीक है, उसको मिनिमम वेज तो आप दे ही नहीं सकते। अच्छा, अब जब आपके पास बजट ही नहीं है तो हाउ द प्रॉब्लम्स विल बी रिजॉल्व्ड? नंबर 1, तो इसलिए बजट का तो आपको प्रॉब्लम ये क्या, हाउ द बजट कैन बी इंक्रीज्ड? क्या हमें इतनी लो बजट में ही लो क्वालिटी ऑफ एजुकेशन देनी है, या हम कम पढ़ा लें और अच्छे पढ़ा लें? ठीक है, तो मतलब बहुत सारे लो क्वालिटी पे पढ़ाने से बेहतर है कि थोड़े पढ़ा लें, बेहतर पढ़ा लें। अच्छा, और जो अमाउंट है जब स्टार्ट हुई थी 5 इयर्स बैक, ₹650 थी। उस वक्त बिफोर कोविड इट वाज मैनेजेबल। अब इन्फ्लेशन आप देख लें, और उस वक्त जो स्कूल्स की परफॉर्मेंस भी क्वालिटी के हिसाब से बेहतर थी, बट अब उसकी इन्फ्लेशन रेट देख लें और अब आप देख लें कि हाउ ₹650 में वो मैनेज हो सकते हैं। सो दिस इज वन कंसर्न। अब इसमें हम अगर एक्सेस की बात करें, हाउ एक्सेस कैन बी इंक्रीज, आपने कहा कि नंबर ऑफ स्कूल इंक्रीज करने, बड़ा जनरलाइज सी स्टेटमेंट है। बात ये है कि गवर्नमेंट जो है वो हमारे परसेप्शन के साथ खेल रही है, रोली पोली आपने स्टार्ट किया हुआ है। पहले पेफ के पास पीएसएसपी प्रोग्राम था, उसको आपने कहा कि हम पीमा बना देते हैं, तो 898 स्कूल आपने पीमा को उठा के दे दिया, और आपने कहा कि न्यू इनिशिएटिव्स हैज बीन टेकन इन व्हिच पब्लिक स्कूल्स विल बी इम्प्रूव्ड। फिर आपने ये कहा कि जी हमने अब रिफॉर्म्स लेके आनी है, रिफॉर्म्स यहाँ 4,000 स्कूल नॉन परफॉर्मिंग स्कूल्स विल बी शिफ्टेड टू पीमा एंड द एजुकेशन विल बी इम्प्रूव्ड। सो बेसिकली आप ये देखिए कि 2016 में हमारे पास अगर 60,000 स्कूल्स थे, और आज 2024 में हम 61 से 60,000 स्कूल्स पर आ गए हैं, तो क्या हम नंबर ऑफ स्कूल्स बढ़ाए बगैर कोई मसला हल हो सकेगा? एग्जिस्टिंग कैपेसिटी के साथ हाउ द प्रॉब्लम्स कैन बी रिजॉल्व्ड? तो वो जो परसेप्शन की बात है कि हमने फलां रिफॉर्म लेकर आ गए हैं, तो एक्चुअली तो कोई रिफॉर्म नहीं आई है। ठीक है, सो एक्चुअली तो आपने सिर्फ जो स्कूल से वो कभी पेप को दे देते हैं, कभी आप ईमा को दे देते हैं, कभी आप सेट के अंदर ले आते हैं, फिर आप सेट से वापस ले जाते हैं। सो दिस इज बेसिकली ओनली कि हम ये कर रहे हैं, एक्चुअली तो आप उसमें इंक्रीमेंट इंक्रीज नहीं कर रहे हैं। अब नंबर ऑफ स्कूल्स कैसे इंक्रीज होंगे? यस, आई हैव टू अगेन रीथिंक, अच्छा नंबर ऑफ स्कूल कैसे इंक्रीज किए जाएं विद दिस सेम बजट? सो अगेन जो कोड डिस्ट्रक्शन की बात थी, बेसिकली टाइम नहीं मिल पाया, बट माय स्टडी इज बेसिकली highlighted the role of various stakeholders who are basically contributing in code destruction. There is a chain of exploitation going on in which government is giving low budget to PEF कि आपने इस बजट में नंबर ऑफ इन्वॉल्वमेंट आप इंक्रीज कीजिए। तो अब PEF कैसे इंक्रीज करेगा? PEF इज एक्सप्लॉइटिंग स्कूल प्रिंसिपल्स कि आप इस बजट में जी आप रन करके दिखाइए। तो वो स्कूल प्रिंसिपल कहते हैं ठीक है जी हम फिर रन कर लेंगे, तो वो इतनी लो क्वालिटी की चीजें दे रहे हैं, वो कह रहे हैं कि ठीक है जी हम भी रन कर लेंगे। तो वो अपनी टीचर्स को कहते हैं कि जी, और आप यकीन नहीं करेंगे, देयर आर टीचर्स हु आर टेकिंग ₹4,000 एज वेल, so 6,000 is an average, you know. So अब ये देख लें कि code destruction is taking place at every step. Thank you.
I'll request Mahfuzullah Saab to answer the questions raised by Jamali Saab on gig economy.
Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to respond to some of the queries. Well, thank you so much. Actually, these comments and the questions are there to help us improve the research paper. Again, that I'm taking it very constructively and positively. But here are some of the information that I would like to reinforce, starting from the very first thing, that in the GB, again, I would say it's not only training. That's why I just not was focusing on training. Rather, I was focusing on a multitude of things that how the trainings are not been effective. In fact, in NFTP, when we studied, why did we study that? Because this was the only program about which we have the data. And as Dr. Fahim Jangir mentioned, yes, there are the earnings available. The data is there. I can present it in detail. In fact, we have received an appreciation letter from Punjab IT Board formally that your graduates are one of the best performing in Pakistan, scoring 200 million plus in a time of 1.5 years. So the data is there. The impact, the program was impactful in terms of earnings, higher graduate levels as compared to the all other programs who lack in pedagogical things, who lack in aligning these programs with the international market, mentorship, and a couple of other things. Because freelancing, as I would definitely agree, that has become a buzzword, and there are a lot of misconceptions about that. That you are just there to do the content writing and all that and get the money. No, it's not like that. There are many other programs that I didn't mention. So when it comes to I would jump on to the madrasa students. Yes, I said I did study the madrasa students, and we actually had we inducted some of the madrasa students in the program, especially those who are the graduates. Like you know that they are they have the HEC equivalents of the of MA Islamiyat or something, and some of them had the good English skills, and especially inducted them and gave them more time to stay in our centers and learn. And they did some good things, and we had done a specific focus group with them that how we can do these things for them. So I can maybe I have not mentioned it properly. I'll go back, check my data, and edit more details that I have with me. And then lastly, about the policy recommendations, sir, uh, maybe at the very at certain parts in Gilgit there is 4G, 5G is maybe entering, and internet 22 hours there is no electricity. So when the electricity is not there, they turn off the towers, so you don't have even the mobile data other than few small areas in Gilgit, and rest 90% of the Gilgit is kind of there is a blackout, or there is kind of internet load shedding for more than 20 hours if you go to the other areas other than Gilgit. So there is a issue of internet. Yes, it's entering, they're improving. That's why when I say freelancing hubs, it's not just a space, it's not just a like a building, it's I've mentioned in my paper in detail that what do I mean by that smart freelancing hub, what does it include. So I will go back and check my data and include more things into that. We have it in raw form. Again, thank you so much for my for all these comments and the questions.
you. मिस अब्बासी ने जो एक एकेडमिक क्वेश्चन किया था अबाउट द हैंडलिंग ऑफ स्मॉल सैंपल साइज आपके लिए मैडम, वो मैं इनसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा टी ब्रेक में आपसे बात कर लें. आई जस्ट रिक्वेस्ट यू, यू आर द लास्ट स्पीकर टू आंसर अ फ्यू क्वेश्चंस रेज्ड बाय different our panelists.
First question was about the heterogeneity issue, and I agree with that, that it can be a potential problem. But given the fact that I just got data after 15th of Jan, and then I have to code that, and then I have to run the, do the analysis. But in the long run, yes, I will take care of that problem. Small sample size, this is the limitation. They have only trained 90 women so far, and we are already, and they don't have record of those women. We have to reach there. I know how we have collected this data. So, but what I'm going to do in the long run, not in the long run, soon, inshallah, that is that I'm going to change the topic. It will be the impact of trainings on digital enablement of micro entrepreneurs, and I will include 300 more women data which we have trained at LUMS. So in that case, the number of observation will increase, and maybe we'll be in better position to say something.